Hey there, students. This is Mr. Briggs, coming to you from the future. Well, actually, I'm coming to you from the past, but I'm talking to you in the future. Either way, time travel is somehow involved. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to use Tinkercad to create a model for a locker. Okay? We're going to make the basic locker model, and then you get to modify it or change it however you see fit. Let's go ahead and set up our locker. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log in to my school email. Okay? So I'm going to log into my school email, and there I am. I'm logging into my school email. You don't need to see that, but I am logged into my email. So you're going to want to log into your email first and then hit sign in. Now, this thing is going to pop up saying, do you want to sign in with Facebook? Well, no, not really. What we want to do is we want to hit more providers. And one of the things that shows up is Google. And since our school uses Gmail and Google, we can go ahead and click this. And when we click it, it might ask you some questions to start out with, like, do you want to allow Tinkercad to see your Google stuff? Go ahead and hit OK. And then you should be in the Tinkercad main screen. If you're not, you may have to click Exit Lesson, because it's going to want to give you a lesson right away. So let's go ahead and make a locker. First thing I'm going to do is create a new design. And once I've created my new design, it brings me to the Tinkercad screen here. Okay? And there's some things to remember about the screen. One, I can zoom in and zoom out. I can rotate this screen around any way I want, up or down, left or right. And fun trick, if you use the right key and shift, you can move it around as well. Okay? But generally you want it kind of in the middle. Although we might want to zoom in or zoom out or change our view in order to see stuff better. We're going to start by making our locker. So I'm going to have right here is my menu of different objects. I'm going to click on my geometric objects. And since a locker is a box shape, let's go ahead and drop a box in there. And we want this box to be a 1/10 model. And so right now, if I put my mouse over this, you'll notice it is 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters. Well, we want to change that. Our lockers here at school are about 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters by 150 centimeters. Let's just bring that down by 10, something we can do with the metric system really easily. So we're going to make it 40 by 40. Now, there's one way I can do that by dragging this out until I'm at 40 and 40, but it takes a lot of work and it's kind of tricky. I'm going to teach you a little bit better of a way. What we want to do is we want to go back to our little tools here, show helper shapes, and there's this thing called the ruler. And if I drag the ruler into my box, it brings up all of the dimensions of that box. And as you can see, this box says it's 25 long. It's 25 long. This one says it is 20 high. I'll zoom in a little bit better so you can see that. It's 25 this way. It is 31 this way. It is 20 that way. And if I click this, I can enter a value. So I want my locker to be 40 millimeters wide, 40 millimeters deep, and then I want to change the height to 150. And when I hit enter and zoom out here, I now have my model for a locker, or at least the first basic building block of that locker. Okay? But I want to hollow that locker out, right? I want to make it a little bit easier to use. Okay, and I'm going to just change my view. I'm going to hit shift and that left arrow, get this kind of in the center so I could see all the sides of my locker. And I want to create a hollowed out portion of my locker so I can actually design this thing. Right now I just have a box. So I'm going to click this once and go to edit and duplicate. And now I've got a second locker, right? And what I want to do is change it so that this locker, instead of being 150 tall, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Instead of being 150 tall, I want to make it 145 tall. And instead of being 40 deep, I want to make it 35 deep and 35 wide. And what I can do now is change that smaller box. So now I've got a slightly smaller box and a slightly larger box. And I'm going to use this box to hollow out my locker. By instead of picking a color here in the inspector window, I'm going to pick hole. And what that will do is hollow out my locker. And I just want to tweak this a little bit. And if you want to adjust the height, here's a hint. If you want to adjust the height, this little cone there lets you adjust how high up or how far down your shape is. And now if we back up here, let me use that shift and right click again. You will see I've got a little bit of space here on the bottom of my locker, a little bit of space at the top, and otherwise I'm good. Okay, so there's my locker. But now really I've got two different shapes, and it's going to be a hassle to constantly be adjusting those shapes. So what I'm going to want to do is select everything and group it using the group button. And when I group it together, it takes a second. Now I have one shape that I can move around, modify its size, and make it just the way I want it. So what else does our locker need? Well, our locker needs a shelf. And once again, if you remember the dimensions, or if you need a reminder, it is 40 by 40. So I'm going to make another box here for my shelf. And I'm going to make it so that it is 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. Oh, wrong way. There's my 40. 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. And instead of being 40 centimeters high, I want to make it maybe 5 high. So I've got a shelf here. And I'm going to position it just inside there. And then click on that little cone to raise it up and get it just where I want it. Okay? And I'm going to make sure I check it on all sides so that nothing is sticking out. Okay. Not bad, right? Okay. So this is the basic part of your locker. The next thing we're going to work on is making a door. And our door of our locker. Well, remember this is 40 by 150 by 40. So let's put another box in here. And we still have that ruler tool going. So let's go ahead and make this 40 wide. Let's make it, instead of making it 20 deep, let's make it 5 deep. Let's make it nice and skinny. Oh, sorry, wrong dimension again. 5 deep. And we want to make it really tall. So let's make it the height of our locker, which is 150 millimeters. And now we have a door. And I'm going to position that door right here so that it's attached to my locker. And then once it's attached to my locker, I'm going to want to maybe rotate that door so that it lines up a little bit better. Now there's all these little tools here for rotation. If I click on this dismiss ruler button, you'll notice that there is a rotate button here. I can move my door. So it looks like my door is swinging out a little bit, maybe 40 degrees. And I'm going to position it just right so that everybody can see my awesome locker with its door swinging out. Now, what's a couple of features we might want to put in there? Well, I might want to put in a vent. So I'm going to make another box here. And maybe I'll use that ruler tool and drag it down here. And I will make this guy, instead of 40, let's make him 30 wide. Instead of 20 tall, let's make him 5 tall. And instead of 9 long, let's make him 5 long. And now I've got this little chunk here, right? And what I'm going to want to do is change him so he's got that same 40 degrees as my door here. But now I'm going to make him a hole. Drag him up and pop him in to my door. If I did it right, I should now have a little gap there. And fun fact, I can hit that edit button again, duplicate it, and I can move that guy down. Where is he? I can move him down so that he's sticking out the other side. But I have one little problem. I probably want to have both of those just a little wider than they are. Okay, so instead of being 5 deep, let's make them 8. Oh, wrong dimension. I screwed up. I deleted him by accident. Let's go ahead and change his dimensions. Let's duplicate that piece again. And the only thing I'm going to do this time is back up enough that I can see that little cone and move it on down. And now I've got the vents for my locker. And I can add any other details I want to add. But remember, select everything every so often and group them together. Okay? So that you can always come back and adjust everything. And there we have it. A really awesome, cool, basic locker. Okay? Feel free to change the design up a little bit from this basic one as you see fit. Okay, guys? Hope that was helpful. Okay, one last little thing I completely forgot was how do you save your work? Well, I'm going to go to Design here, and I'm going to hit Properties, and I'm going to rename it from this random name they give you to Mr. B Locker Design. And I'm going to make it public. Okay, or no, let's keep it private. And I'm going to save my changes. And then, oop, where'd it go? I can always go back up here and hit Save. Okay? And that's how you save your work in Thingiverse so it doesn't, or I'm sorry, in Tinkercad, so it does not go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have fun with your design.